Alright, so I just got out of the theater, finished watching 3 movies, including The Northman, Doctor Strange 2 for the second time, and my new favorite movie, maybe one of my favorite movies of all time now, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. I'll give you some more insights later.
So, my first impressions on The Northman. Well, The Northman is based on the story that Hamlet was also based off of. And Hamlet happens to be my favorite, probably my favorite piece of drama. Certainly my favorite Shakespearean play. And this was really interesting because it's based off of the source material. And so there are a lot of elements, Easter eggs, Hamlet Easter eggs in this, where you can actually see where elements from the play originated. And in many cases they actually make a lot more sense in their original form than they do in the play. They lack certain context. That was interesting. It's a brutal movie in a lot of ways, but very interesting. I enjoyed it. Next, there was Doctor Strange 2 in the Multiverse of Madness. I watched it first last week, about a week from today. It was a week ago today, and I got to say, my first impressions were not good. It did a lot of shit on classic characters, and there's certain plot, lots of exposition, plot exposition, told in a way rather than shown. I wasn't a huge fan of that the first time. I snuck in and saw it a second time today, and I got to say, I enjoyed it a lot more. I found a lot more that I could to enjoy about Doctor Strange 2 on a second viewing. It still has a lot of the same issues that I noticed the first time, but I was able to overlook a lot of the things I hated about it and enjoy it. It's still I still think it's a lot better than a lot of the DC movies, and it's still better than the other Marvel movies that we got last year, apart from Spider-Man No Way Home, of course. Finally, that brings us to the third movie I watched today. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, which was an incredible movie. It's actually the first time since Deadpool 2, probably the only other time, that I've actually laughed and cried at the exact same time. It's a wacky film and a serious film. It manages to do the comedy and the serious stuff both well, and it's a difficult movie to explain, and yet it manages to do the whole multiverse thing much better than Doctor Strange does, or frankly Spider-Man did. It reminds me of a lot of movies that I like, and I think I'm gonna leave it there, and I'll do a more in-depth video at some later date. But yes, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. It was interesting. It was funny watching it and thinking, well, the MCU is going downhill, and here's a film that's great, an indie film, and then the end credits come, and I see that it was produced by the Russo brothers and casting by the same lady that does the casting for the Marvel movies. So I guess they had something good from the Marvel movies that they actually had, that they borrowed. But it's a good film, fun, not for kids. Neither was The Northman, but a good adult entertainment, clean adult entertainment.